week in racing. It's time to recap it. And who better to do it than Michael and Magic? Two bros/pros who cover the highs and lows of racing around the globe on every one of their shows. Real fans look forward to these guys and their last thoughts, cause they know they're not talking out of their royal ascot. What they say makes sense. So ladies and gents, sit back and relax as Blinkers Off presents The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is The Magic Mike Show, episode 275. Mr. Samich, how you doing?
Huzzah!
How you doing today, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing both shitty and excellent all at the same time. So we're, but the Blues are down 0-2, and we are clearly overmatched. So I probably have 2, maybe 3 more playoff games left. But I get to go to Game 5 Tuesday here in Carolina, so I'm pretty excited about that. So, both shitty and excellent in the hockey world. We'll persevere. We'll get through it, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was all excited to jump on the Blues train and ride the coattails that you and Aaron are the big Blues fans in the group. And it was great a couple of years ago when you guys won the Cup. It was fun to kind of, watch from afar as you made that journey. And I was really hoping to, be a little more invested this year. And yeah, I watched that first game. And I was like, I don't know that they got it this year. So I'm sorry. It hurts when you find that out.
Let me tell you, there's plenty of room on the bandwagon if you decide to jump on. It is pretty freaking empty right now. But, playoff series doesn't start until you lose at home. So it won't start until we lose Game 3.
Which is Saturday or Sunday? When do they have
Saturday 9:30 start. That is probably the worst part about this. These East Coast start times as a Blues fan are absolutely brutal. 10 and 10:30 start times. It means the games end at like 12:30, 1 o'clock. It's not fun, but we'll get through it. Only got to watch 4 apparently, so we're good.
Yeah, that's true. You don't have to suffer that much longer. I do know the Hurricanes are looking really great. I didn't really pay that much attention to hockey outside of the Detroit Red Wings this season until the playoffs started, and I watched a couple of videos where people breaking down what the team's strengths were, and I was like, man, Carolina sounds like they're going to be really tough to beat. Do Carolina and whoever comes out of the state of Florida, look out. Those are going to be the tough ones in the Eastern Conference, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think Carolina's actually the class of the East, but you also have Tampa Bay, who's very good, and obviously you'll hear about Boston too if they can make some noise if they get through that Washington series. So it's fun. I think the East is more wide open. I think the West is more top heavy. It's really the Avs and the Golden Knights, and the Golden Knights are facing their kryptonite in the Minnesota Wild. So if you can get plus money or even money on the Wild, I keep taking that all series, and then I think the Avs are going to cruise past the Blues, probably cruise past whoever they face, and they'll be in the conference finals or the Stanley Cup finals.
I can't get on the Vegas Knights bandwagon at all because I'm going to sound like a cranky old man. I really hated that they went to the Cup Finals in their first year. I'm like, you you don't deserve that as a fan base, as an expansion team. Like, it's amazing the job they did to put together that team, and also they were in Las Vegas, so they had home ice advantage like up the wazoo, but I did not like that. I did not like that at all. I was happy that they lost the Cup, and you just need to suffer a bit. You can't just come in right at the top because you're going to turn into Yankees fans, and I don't want Yankees fans in hockey. Nobody wants that.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get Yankees fans in hockey. Hockey fans are completely irrational,
That's true.
and so you really just have fun fans who just go nuts. I think it's going to be interesting with the expansion draft to see if Seattle is going to be able to duplicate the success Vegas had. That was the first expansion draft in like 18 years. So general managers were clearly pretty clueless on what to do, who to protect, and it showed when you saw the team that Vegas was able to put together with young talent, veteran leadership, a couple goalies. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if Seattle can replicate that or if the GMs have gotten a little bit smarter since that last draft.
This is the first time there's been an expansion draft that as a Red Wings fan, I'm like, all right, like we don't have anything yet. Yeah. Go ahead, take your pick. Like it used to be, it's like shit. Which Hall of Famer do we leave open to get taken away? And now it's like, go. We don't even have most of the contracts are expired. I don't even know that they have enough guys under contract that they can even protect in the expansion drafts. If you want Thomas Greiss, you can have him. Like I love the guy. He played his heart out, but you can have him in net if you want him. Go ahead.
I don't think they will.
Rats. That's the one player I wanted to take. I'm doing well. We still got the obviously the in-laws are here, still going really well. Slowly starting to get a little bit of a sleep schedule for Mrs. Magic and I with the baby, so that's going well. So I'm excited because this is the first time I really sat down and handicapped a sequence. We're going to be at Belmont Park for their Saturday pick 4 sequence, the late pick 4, which includes the Seek Again Stakes. It's not graded. It's a $100,000 purse. Can we retroactively just take the stupid ass race that's got like 4 or 3 horses at Santa Anita that's a grade 2 on Saturday? And can we make this race a grade 2 because the Seek Again deserves it and Santa Anita does not? This field is loaded. It's gonna be a lot of fun to talk about.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I think they were probably trying to place Flavius here to give him a drop in class, and he didn't get much of a drop in class. Let's just put it that way. I mean, it came back pretty tough. I thought you were going to mention that this includes a $40,000 state bred turf race on the end, because I know how much you love those when we do these New York sequences.
I texted Mike this morning because we hadn't decided yet which sequence we were going to do, and I was like, shoot, well, I need to do it. Like, I need to figure out this morning so I have time to handicap. And I was like, you want to do Belmont? Because I looked at all the different stakes races, and I was like, that's the best stakes, I think, to at least talk about and try and handicap. And I was like, I haven't looked yet, but I swear to God, if there is a New York bred maiden claiming race on the turf at the end of the card, I'm going to throw something. I think I had a caveat that it was a sprint. This is a route, so we're good. They're on the inner turf, so it's definitely not a sprint. It's a route for them, but we missed it by that much.
Yeah, it's just that mile and 16th distance that happens all the time where you start 25% into the turn and it's totally screwy and you have no clue what you're doing anyway. So yeah, totally happy it's not a sprint.
But I am excited to go through this. This is the first time I really, since I was on paternity leave, that I really dove in deep and tried to handicap these races. So I was going to come on and say, take this with a grain of salt. And then Mike and I are pretty much lockstep for a lot of things with the horses that we love in these races. So either you're about as sleep deprived as I am, or maybe I didn't really have as much for us to knock off as I thought I did.
I sometimes some time away is all you need, Magic. That's all you need.
Well, before we get into it, Mike, I do remember this part. What's the best thing that you saw?
Yeah, I'll be quick. Sports is the best thing I saw right now. Pretty freaking incredible, period that we have of 2 weeks here. Last night and today specifically, I mean, we had 4 playoff hockey games going. We had the Warriors and the Lakers play in this play-in game, which was absolutely phenomenal. Totally lived up to the billing. LeBron with an all-time epic acting job there at the end. And then drains an impossible 3, which is pretty cool. And then you have one of my favorite things about golf sometimes is when you have good, bad golf. And they're in the Ocean Course, which is in South Carolina, which has 30-mile-per-hour winds randomly because it's just blowing in off the ocean. It makes for some really, really Mike-looking golf shots, which I love. I think it's hilarious when you slice it, it goes into the wind, it ends up 40 yards short, right? Someone hit it into a trash can today. That's the kind of golf I enjoy watching. I like seeing the good shots too. But it's fun to see them have bad shots because it makes oh, I could do this. I totally couldn't do it. But, okay, I could do this, So right now we got a great time in sports. We got the NBA playoffs. We got the NHL playoffs. We got a nice little major going on at a course that I think is enjoyable. The Cubs won again. There we go. I like it, Robert. Fly that W, baby. So, yeah, right now sports is the best thing I saw.
I really thought you were going to say Canterbury. We were all excited because Canterbury Park was coming back, and Ruben Fuentes, grade 1 winning jockey Ruben Fuentes, was relocating to Canterbury for the summer. And we're like, well, you got the 10% takeout on the pick 5, pick 6. They had a lot of big pools going. They handled $1.8 million on their opening night at Canterbury, which was Tuesday night, Monday night. It was not a weekday, not a weekend, not a day when you'd think. Tuesday night, yeah. Ruben got his first win then, and then the next night had a couple more nice ones. The kid is doing exactly what you and I thought, was getting mounts that are maybe not necessarily the best, maybe 12 to 1, 20 to 1 shots, and he's giving them a fighting chance. He had one that hit the board, that got third, and I think he was 40 to 1, paid $18 and change to show. I was like, I should have just show bet Ruben, for those first nights, the show all every mount. Would have been up, I think, a 400% or 500% ROI, just show betting Ruben, because he's getting these horses home, including Mr. Jägermeister, who wasn't a price, but I don't know how you ever played that race and didn't use the best Minnesota bred in the history of horse racing. I don't get.
On top of that, just faced CZ Rocket twice. So I think it's explainable why he lost the last 3. He's been facing but let me tell you, the Minnesota State bred 50K stakes races, not as deep as graded stakes at Oaklawn. Just throwing it out there. Just
Not that many Peter Miller reclamation products showing up over at Canterbury these days.
No, that's just at Belmont in the sequence we're going to handicap.
Oh, my God, I saw that, yeah. Well, that is a great segue, Mike, because the best thing that I saw was Ruben and Canterbury doing a great job. Let's get into the late pick 4 sequence at Belmont Park on Saturday, May 22nd. Riders up! All right, Mike, kicking things off for the late pick 4 sequence at Belmont Park on Saturday, May 22nd. Race 7 on the card. You've got a field of 10 males, 4 and up, in for an open $20,000 claiming tag, going 1 mile and 1/16 on the main track. And because of how big Belmont Park is, that isn't even the longest they could do and still do one turn there. Favoritism is on the number 3 Malibu Pro with Joel Rosario, Robert Falcone Jr. at 8-5. I went a little chalky in these first 2 legs, Mike, but I'm going price hunting in the last 2 because I think that's where the value is. The 3 was my top pick. I went 3 deep. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I thought this was actually the toughest race in the sequence. I'm going to play two tickets. I'm going to play a 50-cent ticket. And I'm going to play a $5 ticket because I really like a horse in the last. It's a little bit of a price, and so I want to try and create some value going into that race. I agree with you that I ended up being pretty chalky here in this spot. I do have Malibu Pro on top. And I think this is kind of the key to this race, because if Malibu Pro doesn't win, I could probably make an argument for almost every horse in this field. Look, Malibu Pro is coming out of was claimed 3 back for 40,000, goes right into a stakes race, then claimed for 32,000 by the Falcone barn. Don't love the fact that we're going down to 20,000. You'd think this is where this horse would get claimed back, and so it feels like they're not really trying to protect it. But that being said, I mean, you have a decent enough purse here, $48,000, where you pay for the claim, and if it gets claimed, you're making money if this horse wins. So I'm not overly concerned about it, but it is a little bit of a red flag that we're dropping a horse that's claim box happy that was in a stakes 2 back. Other thing is we got bell curve here on a speed horse. I don't love Rosario on speed because I'm not sure the ride I'm going to get. So I'm a little concerned about the 3 in that sense too. But all of that being said, the 3 is the best horse in this race, has the best numbers, is the most consistent, and should be right there at the end. So I'm not sure how you leave the 3 off, even though you're swallowing an 8-5 price here. I will say if there's some scratches later in my ticket, or maybe even 1 or 2 horses come out of here, I may hit the all button in this race just to get a little bit more coverage on that 50-cent ticket, because like I said, I am singling late. So I did have the 3 Malibu Pro on top. I also thought the 7 horse was a must use here. And that is the Heavy Roller. Comes out of the Rob Ultra Barn. And this horse was able to beat both the 1 and the 1A. Really funny. I don't know if you looked at this, but the 1 and the 1A are first and second off a claim for the same trainer who claimed 1 in the race 2 back, runabout, and then last race claimed Arm & Hammer, and now is running them together as an entry after they ran together 2 races back. So really interesting claiming story there. I don't think either has a great shot, but interesting kind of claiming story to see there. Heavy Roller is going to sit a nice trip here. That's the main reason I like this horse. I think the 1.16 distance is right between the eyes. You've seen this horse kind of get better and better the last 2. It's been a favorite 4 of the last 5 times out. And the horse likes Belmont, 2 for 4 at the distance. We get IRAD up. I think kind of it's all systems go here. So I'm going to go 2 deep with the 3 and the 7 to start out the $5 ticket. I'm going to end up 4 deep here. I assume you use the 7 as well.
Absolutely. All the reasons you mentioned. Listen, was voided out of a claim for 10,000, and sometimes that makes me a little worried. But they brought him back in for 16,000 last out, and he still won, going to mile 16th at Belmont Park. Irad was in the saddle. Irad is back here. I didn't use 1 or 1A. Neither of us did. The fact that he beat them pretty well in that one, that's fine to me. You brought up a lot of great points. I also love the fact that Rob Atras had this horse claimed for 25,000 away from Linda Rice, had 1 race, won, lost him for 32. That Anthony Dutrow brings him up to 62,000 optional claimer, and Atras loses a shit ton of money. He goes, I lost it for 32. I'm going to buy him back for double the price, and then hasn't kept running him at the high price, but has kept running him over and over. So I love the fact that Atras was like, it's going to cost me a lot of money. I still want the horse back, and is by also the recently passed Malibu Moon there. We had agreement. I went 3 deep. We had agreement on all 3 of them. So let's talk about the 6 Eagle Pass. This was my 3rd horse on. I'm a little concerned that this horse has a major bounce candidate because got an 87 buyer last out, which was the best this horse has had since May of 2019. Also a 1.16 dirt race at Belmont Park for a $25,000 tag. But the horse has got 4 wins at the distance, 3 for 3 at Belmont Park. And what caught my eye, Manny Franco riding through the claim. That is a big thing for me. If a good, talented jockey like Manny Franco was going to switch from one barn to the next, a barn, Wayne Potts, who he's only ridden for 10 times in the last year and a half, has 1 victory. But Potts is 26% with an almost $3 ROI first off the claim, is very strong in claiming races. So the fact that the 87 buyer does concern me, but Manny Franco staying aboard tells me that this horse probably has a good chance. Is that why you liked the 6 as well?
Look, I thought the 6 was just one I didn't want to beat me. I had the ability to spread a little bit in this race, and that's kind of the reason why I ended up with the 6. You have those improving buyers, the 2 off the start. You also had the barn switch, and that to me was a big part of this, right? I mean, we're going from a barn that was 13%. I'm sorry, we're going from a barn that was 26% with Timothy Kaiser, but that's mostly it's smaller tracks, and he was consistently the favorite. This horse, Eagle Pass, jumps up into the Ray Handel barn, and now is claimed into the Potts barn. I'm wondering if there was something done differently from the training perspective that got those buyers to re-pop up. Because if you look back at when Steve Asmussen was training this horse back in Saratoga in 2019, you have an 82 buyer. So it's not like these buyers are out of nowhere. These buyers are in the back class. We're just returning to a form at an age that is kind of unexpected. I mean, I guess that's the best way to put it. But even at 6, it's not like we're over the hill here. So I'm willing to give this horse a chance to continue to improve. And really, to me, it's the 2 sprints to a route, going to a good claiming barn, and the fact that you have a rider going through the claim with the improving buyers. It's just too much there for me not to have this horse on, especially since I did end up going up 4 deep here. The 6 was actually the last horse on my ticket. I put the 5 legit on the ticket. I'm going to be totally honest. I have no clue what's going on with Linda Rice. I thought she couldn't train in New York, but she's got entries all over the place, like Finger Lakes.
One today.
And then you have some today at Belmont. You've got tomorrow at Belmont. There's some on Saturday at Belmont. So I'm not really sure, but they ran today, so I'm going to use them and not assume we're going to scratch them out. I assume there's some type of appeal, and that's the reason. But anyway, legit, the 5 horse. Look, Rice claimed this horse 2 back, sends it next out at the $32,000 level, which was a jump in claiming price from $20,000 to $32,000. I think the waters were just a little too deep there, to be honest with you. You had Irad ride the horse at $20,000. You jump up to that $30,000, and they go 23-1, 46-1 instead of 24-4, 49-4, right? So completely different pace scenario in those 2 races. I think you're going to get something that's a little bit slower, especially with a longer distance, which means that you're going to see the 5 horse legit a little bit closer to the pace. We get 3rd off a layoff, 2nd in the claim. I think we're getting down to a reasonable level again at that $20,000 claiming level. I think you're going to get every bit of the 10-1 price. So, for a son of Curlin who's going to like this distance, 1 for 3 at the distance with an 83 buyer, I'm going to jump on the 5 at 10-1, use that horse as well.
I didn't use any of the Linda Rice horses, partially because I just was like, I assumed they're going to scratch. And then I found out, well, no, they're still letting her run. So, yeah, again, we don't know what the hell's going on there. Maybe they said that the ruling is that when the horses that were already entered are allowed to run, or so. I don't know. I don't understand it. This horse is, the being by Curlin would make you think this horse fits in this spot. Jose Ortiz is Linda Rice's nephew, grandnephew, something like that. So he likes to ride pretty close to Linda Rice.
Or something like that.
Something crazy, yeah. So I didn't use, but partially because I don't know what the hell's going on. Quick before we move on, Dr. Tang brings up the Peter Miller horse, the number 9 roaming Union. I'm sorry. Yeah, no. Here comes Doc. I looked at the wrong one there. The splitting is screwing me off here. This is an Indiana bred who's got 4 career wins in 40 starts. And Mike, 3 of those 4 wins were against Indiana breds. The other one was a maiden 25K debut at Tampa Bay Downs. So if this wasn't Peter Miller, I'd be like, this horse has no business being in this race. Because it's Peter Miller, because Javier Castellano's jumping aboard, I didn't use him, but I'm like, if this horse knocks me out, it's my fault, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't use the horse either. Obviously, there's some concern here. The next one on my ticket, I mean, I'm not going to, Peter Miller obviously has these reclamation projects, which every now and then you get excited about. I think and this is why I considered, like, you have the Peter Miller reconciliation project, whatever. Peter Miller's going to improve that horse for no reason. He's on the outside there. Right to his inside, the 8 horse roaming Union, kind of interesting here. Carlton Baker is the trainer. Well, he also claimed this horse for $16,000 last time out, and then he decided to move the horse up to $20,000. In that last race, you're like, oh, but he lost a heavy roller, lost a runabout, lost Hammer and Army. That was at a mile and a 16th. They went 23-3, 46-4, and this horse was on the lead. He has 0 chance of holding that pace. So if you go back to that last race, I think you can kind of make an excuse for it, and you go back to the mile and 1/8 efforts at Aqueduct at 40,000 and at the $40,000 level where he runs an 88 buyer. There are efforts in the back class for Roman Union that gets the job done here, and Roman Union should be sitting close to the pace. Now, again, 15-1 is why I'm interested in this horse. The fact that it's a trainer claiming it and then moving it up. But it didn't make the ticket. But it's one of those where if I get a scratch, the first scratch out, Roman Union would be the next horse on my ticket.
Well, he's also kind of like the Linda Rice horse by Union Rag out of Bernardino Mare, so is bred to love the distance. So that should be of no concern. It'll be interesting to see what tactics Jose Lezcano ends up using, because the 3 we're expecting with bell curve to go to the lead as much as you can expect that. I would expect the 1 Hammer and Hammer to try and go out there and push as well. So you've got other speed horses here. We'll see if he ends up trying to pull this horse back, especially being on the outside. If you get a good stalking trip, and especially if bell curve does something that's going to screw up the speed horse, it's not, especially at 15-1. I think the 15-1 price makes him playable if you're interested in him.
Yep, I'm with you.
Let's move on to the second leg, Mike, where we have full agreement in 4 horses here. I'm curious to see if we have them in the exact same order. This is a field of 10 New York bred fillies and mares ages 3 and up. This is a first level allowance for them. Number 7, Breakfast at Bonnie's is your 9-5 favorite. This is a 6.5 furlong dirt sprint. Again, went a little chalky here. I did put the 7 on top, but we both went 4 deep, which tells me we're both looking for a little bit of price and some value here. Where'd you go on top?
I actually didn't go with the 7 on top. I went to the inside. I went with Pleasure Luck, 7-2 out of the Mark Henning barn. I think this race has a ton of speed in it. And when you have a ton of speed and it's 6.5 furlongs, I'm always looking for those horses that are cutting back in distance that I think have early foot and can close. I'm going to draw the line through the last one. It was over a wet track, and that's why I think you saw a little bit of regression there. But this 6.5 furlong distance should hit this horse right between the eyes. You got the 7 furlong effort at this level, 3 back, where the horse was kind of sitting in third and trying to close up, was the favorite, faced Make Mischief that day. He was a pretty good horse. Yeah. So, he's not so bad. So I'm gonna play the 1 Pleasure Luck on top. I think the distance and the pace setup specifically is. I mean, this horse could trip out right behind the speed in that pocket trip, get the rail lane, and just run for home. So I like the 1 quite a bit here.
And I'm with you. Scratch off that last one because of the wet track, and probably a mile was a little bit too long. Is it never missed the board in 4 fast dirt starts. And you talked about Make Mischief beating her 3 back. Also beat her on debut at Belmont. If this horse gets away from Make Mischief, she does pretty well. And Teetotaler caught her 2 back, but again, that was at a mile, and even on fast dirt, I think that the mile is just a little bit longer. So I am totally with you here. Also, Mark Hennig is one of my favorite trainers because he's one of the good guys. So whenever he's got a horse that I think has a good chance, I love to play him because it just feels a little bit better about that. The 7 horse was my top choice here. And I use this, so I'll talk a little bit about it. This is another horse taking a bit of a cutback in distance. I don't love that the top 2 picks for me, the 7 and the 1, are both 3-year-olds facing older, but I don't think there's really that much dangerous here in terms of the older horses. I love that this horse is by Leoban, who, as already no longer New York sire, got bought up and moved to Kentucky because of how strong he was in his first year as a sire in New York. Danny Gargan is 1 for 23 in the last 2 months. When I was handicapping this, I was like, man, I can't remember the last time I saw Danny Gargan win. And then I saw the stat 1 for 23. I was like, oh, okay, a little bit of a cold streak here, but this horse had that really sharp 4 furlong work, 47-2 on the training track on May 12th. And then Kendrick Carmouche is the only rider who's been aboard. Kendrick knows how to handle a speed horse, but also on debut, when she broke her maiden by 11.25 lengths, Carmouche was able to ration her speed a little bit. So there's plenty of options here. The distance cut back, that price is 9 to 5. I think it's gonna be even shorter than that on her because she just looks so strong on paper here. But this at least had to be a horse, Mike, that you use so that you don't get knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, the 7 was my other must-use horse, and it was more of a defensive must-use. It's one of those. I'm gonna have it on the $5 ticket because I do think this is probably your most likely winner, although I think it's going to be bet pretty heavily. And I'm interested to see kind of what trip it works out. I mean, you mentioned that romp and that maiden special weight win. That's kind of slow, and they didn't go that fast early. So I want to see where the 7 sits. I don't think the 7 can make the lead in this spot. I think there's a lot of speed here, to be honest with you. I expect that the 2 is going to go. I think the 3 is going to go, and they both can go 22:45. And this 7 horse hasn't faced anything like that. I mean, 22-2, 46-2 in the opening race. So essentially got to go 24 seconds in the second quarter and actually improved on the rest of the field during that. So I have a feeling that you're not going to, the 7 horse has not seen this type of pace setup before. And I think that may be the most interesting part of this race, because if the 7 is too forwardly placed, I think it sets it up even better for the 1. And that's kind of why I ended up on the 1 here, because I do think Kendrick is more of one of those speed send type riders. So I think you will see the 7 engaged early, and that could kind of heat up the 7 and create it for someone to come off the pace.
He's a speed jockey unless it is the Wood Memorial and every horse literally falls down in the stretch and he comes flying by with Bourbonic. The other 2 horses we used, the 6 Trini Luck and the 8 Banker's Daughter. The 6 is a kind of a relative new shooter here. She just has 1 career start. Last year debuted at Coldstream Park in the slop, won a maiden 50 by 2.25 lengths. Looked pretty good, and then we didn't see her again until shows up right here for Rudy Rod, first time starting. So new jockey, Manny Franco, new trainer here. Again, I don't think this is a very tough field that she's facing, so I also don't have a reason to not play against her. Rudy Rod, 20% first time with the trainer, and 27% off of an extremely long layoff like this. So I think all systems are going to be go for her if she's ready, including we saw that 4 furlong work that's pretty sharp on her page. What did you like about the 6?
Well, I thought it was interesting that we have a homebred here, right? So Ryan Racing is both the owner and the breeder, and they decided after that debut to go from a trainer that is 6% and not relatively unknown down in Gulfstream Park and move it to Rudy Rodriguez's barn, specifically because of this New York State bred program. And this is where we end up showing up in a $80,000 non-winners of 1 that's protected versus that $50,000 maiden that we saw at Gulfstream Park. So I think that They're showing a lot of confidence placing this horse here. I'm surprised we didn't see this horse again at Gulfstream Park and that we switched trainers. And with all of that going on, it makes me think we're going to see a pretty good effort here from Trini Luck. And I don't want to get beat by this horse. I think you're going to get every bit of 8-1. I think it might even float up. And if Trini Luck goes off at like 3 or 4-1, the word's out. I mean, this horse is going to fire, right? I mean, so if this horse takes money, I'm really excited. And if it doesn't, I get the price I want. So I kind of felt like you had to include Trini Luck, at least on the 50-cent ticket where I'm spreading here. My crazy ex-girlfriend also ran second in that race. Not a bad Gulfstream horse. So there was something in that race at least. Other horse I used with the 8 Banker's Daughter. I really couldn't figure out what to make of this horse. It's a Johnny Tryhard horse. Ran a lot as a 2- and 3-year-old. Had a race early in its 4-year-old campaign, but then took a little bit of time off. First out, ran well, but wasn't quite able to get to Summer Brew, who's a decent horse in New York. We're getting second off a layoff here. I kind of feel like this might be the time that this horse absolutely pops, and I love the jockey upgrade. I love going from Davis and Cancel, who are not bad jockeys, to Saez, who's I think one of the better jockeys on the ground. So I really like the jockey upgrade. I like the second off the layoff. And these kind of horses seem to get ignored sometimes when they've been at this allowance level for a while. They've already proven they can win, but they've been facing better horses, and then they kind of land in a weaker field. Because let's be honest, if the 7's not a world beater, this is a pretty weak field for an $80,000 race.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Plus, I love the fact this horse is by Essential Banker, who, other than probably Leo Ben, is the sire that I love to play the most in New York bred races. Being a son of Spitestown, there's going to be plenty of speed and handle this distance. You talked about being a Johnny Tryhard horse. Man, if you scratch off 2 back when she made her actual 4-year-old debut, something went off and Dylan Davis wrapped her up, and then she takes 3 months off. So something was a little bit of a miss. Looks like she came back pretty strong. 4 back, you can scratch that off because it was a New York Stallion Series stakes. A little bit too high. Other than that second, first, second, she is always right there. And I'm with you. Sometime this horse is going to pop. And I made sure to work out my ticket in the last 2 legs so that this horse would be on my ticket, because I don't know if her ceiling is a 73 buyer, but to me, this is her second real start at age 4, which I know is an angle that you have taught me about. Mm-hmm. And you're getting Luis Saez, man. I mean, nothing against those other jockeys that have been aboard her, but good God, when you get Luis Saez to ride for a barn that he has never ridden for in the last year and a half, that is clicking at, was a 6 for 9 on the board, including 2 wins at the meet. I think this horse has got a pretty good shot here, Mike.
I do too, and I think you're going to get 9-2. I don't like this. These horses don't get bet down. Like, you don't usually see this horse go down to 3-1 or 2-1. And I think that I think 3-1, 7-2 was probably fair odds on this horse in this spot, because really it's if the 7 doesn't fire, then like I said, I think this is a pretty wide open race, and to me the 8 is one of those logical contenders.
Let's move on to the headlining race of Saturday's card at Belmont Park. Race 9, this is the $100,000 Seek Again Stakes. There's a field of 8 males, 4 and up, plus 2 MTOs. We're not going to talk about them. The weather, at least last time I looked, is pretty clear. So down to a field of 8. You got 2 Chad Brown horses in here, Mike, including the number 10 Flavius at 2-1. You mentioned Chad Brown, probably looking for a softer spot for him. I don't know if he's going to find it here. He's a 2-1 favorite. Delaware is also in here at 4-1. Not only am I not playing either Chad Brown, I almost singled the number 5 Get Smoking here. I ended up not doing it. I used a second horse, but good God, I think Get Smoking at 5-1. Sign me up right now.
Yeah, I mean, Get Smoking was my top pick. I am singling Get Smoking in my $5 ticket, so I am in full agreement with you. Look, there is just such a pace edge here, and that's really what drove me to this horse. There is absolutely no other speed in this race. This horse has no problem getting a mile. Going a mile on Belmont's one-turn turf course means that you can go a little bit faster and string them out a little bit more, and you're going to be able to get the job done. I mean, last time out, you can just draw a line through the Maker's Mark mile. The waters were just simply too deep there. You go 22-2, 45-3, and you got Raging Bull, Ride Comet chasing you down. You're going to lose. It's just that simple. So, but I like how bad the running line is from a betting perspective, which sounds kind of funny. But look, people will look at that and be like, wow, he really quit. But you know what really doesn't matter when you're a speed horse? How badly you quit. It just matters if you can hold the whole way. And we've got the back class and the back performances that he has proven that he can hold the whole way. So Get Smoking, I think, is going to get the lead. I think you're going to get a rather easy lead. I'm not really like, this is the New York circuit. I mean, can we get a 49 here? Can we get a 49 for fun?
He won the Hill Prince last October, 24-1, 49 and a half, 113. They let him walk the dog, and he just goes, okay, gonna win it. It's New York speed, lone speed on turf. This is screaming. This is gonna be a winner.
Like you saw, like the Hall of Fame where he goes a mile and an eighth at Saratoga. He goes out way too fast. That was too long. Even the mile and 16th, out too fast, too long. But if you look at the mile races and you look at when he has a controlled pace in a mile, he is ultra dangerous. And so I agree with you. 5-1 is kind of feels like a gift a little bit here on Get Smoking.
I want to touch on the Maker's Mark Mile, which is the race that you're talking about last out. Grade 1, first of all, he was facing Chad Brown's A squad, which Raging Bull. Also, almost beat Chad Brown's another A squad member, Domestic Spending, in the 1.125 Hollywood Derby. Missed by less than a length to him. Smooth Like Straight and Gufo, 3 mother effing good horses that are going to be dominating the turf scene at age 4 this year. The Maker's Mark Mile, do you remember who he was dueling with on the front end before that suicide pace before he quit?
Oh, no, I don't. Who was it?
Some Like It Hot Brown. What did Some Like It Hot Brown do after also speed and quitting in that race? He came back and dominated the dinner party at Pimlico last weekend. So didn't hurt him very much. Not going to hurt Get Smoking here either.
I'm with you. I can't believe you didn't use the 2 Browns. Those are my next 2 horses in. Delaware off the layoff obviously looks pretty dangerous here. It's second off the layoff, was able to win over Decorated Invader and Rinaldi. Rinaldi is another one of those good, sneaky New York horses. Never really had success going up in the graded level, but been very consistent here at the $100,000 overnight stakes. I didn't want to leave. I'm going 5 deep here, so there's no way I'm leaving him or leaving Flavius off. Flavius, I kind of want to quit Flavius. But we're grade 1, grade 2, grade 1, $700,000 race. Okay, I'll give you an excuse for what happened in those. And he even won that race at Kentucky Downs, although he only beat Snapper Sinclair by 3/4 of a length. So I'm not sure how much credit I'm going to give him. I think that you just kind of have to use Flavius. I do. So I'm going to use the 6 and the 10 defensively. Horse I thought was really interesting. I don't know if you use this horse or not. The one horse on the rail, Epic Dreamer. Did you use the one?
I did not. I did look at him closely.
How weird is it that Irad's on this horse? I mean, you have two Chad Brown horses, both of which he was probably offered the mount. I mean, he rode Flavius 2 back, so I'm sure that he at least had a shot at that mount. He's ridden Delaware 3 times, including in a $100,000 overnight stakes, and he lands on a 12-1 Cassie on the rail. I mean, and then, okay, let's dig a little deeper here. Okay, Epic Dreamer or Malibu Moon. Okay, decent turf pedigree on the top side. I don't know much about Dixie Crisp or Dixieland Band, the bottom side. But if you look at the races back where this horse was running when it ran in the Holy Bull and the Fountain of Youth and kind of was on the Derby Trail, you saw those lower 80 buyers. Then you go up to the race that closed out its career last year in a sprint race. It runs a 92 buyer. So now you see the 90s come up as a 4-year-old. Now we go into the early 5-year-old season, and the first thing Cassie does with this horse is try and get it on turf. And it doesn't run great, and it looks like it's not a great race, but this is an optional $75,000 race. First time on the turf. Social Paranoia and Olympic Runner both in that race. Olympic Runner's in here, and I may not be using Olympic Runner, which may be a little crazy.
But it's another Cassie runner, by the way. So
you
have 2 Cassies.
Which is another Cassie. But then you have that next race at Gulfstream Park. Then you come back against a lower level at Tampa. And, oh, man, this horse absolutely looked loaded. I mean, if you go back and watch the replay, one of the more visually impressive turns of foot you've seen around the turn. This horse just takes over, and it's done. It's wrapped up by 2 going a mile and 133. 92 buyer, second out as a 5-year-old here, 12-1, and Ortiz picks up the mount. I'm really interested in Epic Dreamer in that sense. So I'm going to use Epic Dreamer to price here at 12-1.
Jason, remember, incidental Irad is in New York now. Got to use his mount in every race just because he's kind of like the Peter Miller of jockeys for very different reasons. But other than you really don't want to get beat by him. I gave this horse a strong look for all the reasons that you talked about. The reason I didn't end up using him is because I think Get Smokin' needs somebody to push him in order to get really beat in this spot, and I don't think Epic Dreamer is going to be fast enough to be able to do it. He's coming out of a lot of sprints. And he was, stalking in that Tampa race, but I think the level of talent there, if he wanted to, he could have gone up and tried to challenge for the pace. But you're getting 12-1 on him, and with that kind of a price, I think there is value there. The only other horse I used is the 7 Decorated Invader, who lost to Delaware in the Dangers Hour Stakes. But Christophe Clement, bless his heart, basically blamed Junior Alvarado for losing that race. Clement expected to win that and basically said, I was unhappy with the trip. I was unhappy with the ride. We're scratching it off. And, oh, hey, look, we're replacing him with Joel Rosario. So the bell curve is back on, not on a speed horse. And by the way, if he's going to screw us in that other race, when he's supposed to be on the speed, what do we know about him? Well, this is the time when you jump on him. I don't like that this horse is 5-2. I was hoping for a much better price because of that loss. not going to get it, but the mile is right where he wants to be. He's 3 for 6 at the distance. He's got a win in a second and 2 starts at Belmont Park. And that loss, by the way, was by a head to Get Smokin' in the Hill Prince when Get Smokin' was allowed to walk the dog like we think is going to happen here. So I looked at that race closely too, and I was like, there really isn't much of a pace difference between those spots. And if he was right there closing in on him, second off the layoff, second start at age 4, getting Rosario back aboard. I just wish I got a better price. I'm hoping that those Chad Brown horses get hammered, especially in the multis, and gives me a little value at 5-2 when it comes to the pick 4 sequence.
Yeah, I use a 7 as well. This is the last horse on the ticket for me. I could see, we need an improvement here. I think that last race is a little bit false, like you said. There was trip trouble. It wasn't really what Clement was looking for. And Rosario's ridden this horse very, very well. We're more on the right side of the bell curve here on these Rosario rides. So I do think it's going to set up well for him. My biggest concern is the pace, like you said. Is there going to be enough up front for Decorated Invader to be able to storm home late and get by? And then you also have horses like Epic Dreamer and Flavius who are going to sit closer to the pace. So you're going to have multiple horses firing. It's not just you need to get by Get Smokin'. You also need to get by Epic Dreamer and Flavius, who should be sitting a little closer.
Yeah, and the Flavius was the one. If one of those 2 horses scratches out, I'll put Flavius in here because he's the only horse with a triple-digit buyer. He got 105 for winning the Tourist Mile. You've made fun of Snapper Sinclair. Snapper Sinclair is damn good at Kentucky Downs. He's one of those horses that you bet like 1 or 2 times a year, and it's when he's at Kentucky Downs. He's very, very strong in there, so I'll forgive him for beating that horse. We talked before, mostly off air, but Chad Brown is not having a Chad Brown year when it comes to turf races. And so to me, this, especially with Delaware, I was like, I don't want anything to do with him here. Flavius is the one that gives me a little bit concerned. But again, I think that the pace advantage Get Smokin' has, it's just going to make it too tough for me to try and go any deeper than 2 in that spot.
I don't hate it.
Well, let's talk about a race that usually I do hate, but I didn't this time. The final leg to get out, go home with hopefully some money in your pocket here. Field of 10 New York bred maiden fillies and mares, 3 and up, plus 6 also eligibles. Mike, 6 also eligibles in this race. They're all in for a $40,000 tag. Favoritism here, it looks like it's going to be on the 8 Quiet Horizon at 3-1. I was not happy that that's the price that we were getting, but not my top choice. You and I have an agreement, and you have a single. So I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, I'm singling in both the $5 and the 50-cent ticket. It's one of the reasons I'm spreading in some earlier legs. I absolutely love Lemon Taffy, the 3-horse, 6-1 on the morning line. So we're getting a pretty good price here. This is like 5 different Samo angles that are all coming together here. I mean, we have second start in the career, so you should expect a step forward there. I love Lemon Drop Kids when they get to go on turf for the first time. Lemon Drop Kids, sneaky good turf sire in general. They tried. Mike Maker is a $100,000 horse, debuted at this $40,000 level. Maker wanted this horse to go on turf. The race rains off the turf. You end up in the dirt. The horse didn't run poorly at all. The horse ran pretty well for a first time out, especially over the muddy track. We're going right back to the turf. I like the fact that we missed by a half length and we don't try dirt again. Mike Maker is confident this horse is better on turf than dirt. I like the fact this is a 3 Diamonds farm horse where Mike Maker likes to win with that specific barn. Oh, by the way, there's no speed in this race. Guess who's got some speed? The 3-horse Lemon Taffy. And guess who we got aboard? Luis Saez, who likes to shove anyway. I think this sets up absolutely perfectly for the 3 to wire the field. 6-1. I mean, if I can get fixed odds somewhere 6-1 before the race, I'll throw a win bet in here. I think this is a great price. And this is going to be the key to my pick 4. I'm going to single it in both the 50-cent and the $5 ticket.
So I agree with everything that you said. You hit every great point. Here's one thing that I also love is that this isn't a situation where they're looking to bring her into a stakes, right? You don't debut a stakes horse in for a $40,000 tag unless you're Jason Service. This horse has not run on Lasix. This will be 2 straight races without running on Lasix, meaning Maker doesn't feel the need to try and, I don't know, hide something with the horse or just feels like this horse is healthy enough that she can run her best race without needing Lasix. And so that to me is like he's got a lot of confidence in her. I think he's trying to get a little sneaky with that $40,000 tag. And you've been correct about this before when I've been like, well, why would you risk this horse for a tag? Because if you can keep it, if you get lucky, those starter allowance races, this horse is going to have the talent to go in and whip on them. That's going to be a good advantage for him. So all systems go for the 3 Lemon Taffy. This was my top pick as well.
Yeah, and those starters are $50,000 starter allowances. So $40,000 is still a risky claim number, right? It's not like you're claiming for 16 or 20 and you think you're going to be able to get into those $50,000 allowances and have a good shot at running second, getting your money back. I mean, you really need to be confident the horse is going to be good. I mean, to me, this is one of those spots where it seems like this horse is really good. I also didn't think this field was that deep which also made it a little bit easier to go after the 3 here. So I know you didn't single. So
No.
where else did you end up? And I have 4 other horses I considered using before I just singled it up. So we can go through those as well if you like.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'll go 2 at a time, and then if I'll ask you if you had either of those as part of your group here. Second. So here's the thing. Not only did I not pick the chalk on top, I didn't pick chalk second. My second horse is the number 7 Cosmic Kitten at 12-1. First, we're getting a major jockey upgrade back to Johnny Velasquez, who was aboard when David Donk tried to debut this horse, going a mile in the 16th on the Belmont Park turf. Not in for a tag. Finally ended up dropping her down for a tag at this level last time out. Didn't work out very well, but guess this horse was extremely rank. They tried rating, and then the bug boy, Luis Cardenas, just didn't have any control over this horse. She got completely burned out. I think Johnny V jumping back aboard is a big sign here. And one thing that I learned a long time ago from Ricky Pasternak, who does the Ricky's Rockets, the free articles with the free, God, he hit like a massive pick 4, pick 5 at Churchill Downs on Saturday. It's all on the website. One thing that he always harps on is David Donk going long on turf is a great angle here. So Ricky knows this circuit a hell of a lot better than I do, so I'm going to go with that. And now we're getting second off the layoff. There's no class drop. There's nobody going, oh, shoot, now we got to enter for 20 because she doesn't have the ability to run. And Johnny V getting back aboard tells me there's a lot of potential here. I talked about the not playing chalk. Well, the chalk's going to be third, Quiet Horizon. Christophe Clement is one of those rare trainers who is extremely good at debuting a horse at a mile or greater. 16% with a 227 ROI. This is the only horse that's a new shooter that really intrigues me in this spot. And it's a lot of it's because Clement is very talented at it, but I hate the price. Manny Franco is a good jockey. We've loved him when he was riding Tis the Law, so I like that. For me, that price makes me a little scared here. With a 7 or 8, either horses that you considered?
So I did have the 8 as my second pick, actually. So I agree with you. The price is a little short, but again, there's just not much in here. And it's interesting. Clement is 23% first time starter, 16% debuting at a mile, 17 at maiden claiming. So his numbers are actually better going shorter. Those are very good numbers for debuting at maiden claiming and debuting going over a mile. But his numbers in general are higher when it's just any other first-time starter. So it's one of those where you kind of look at those like, well, maybe this is the weaker horses that show up. It's another reason why I kind of decided to only go 1 here. The 7 I went back and forth on. One thing you didn't mention that I thought was upside, that was $40,000 open. This is $40,000 state bred. So it's actually a little bit of a drop in class here, and he was running in state bred prior to that. My concern is the horse just isn't good. I mean, like that. I went through the first race was 7-1, got bet down. His debut with Velasquez did nothing, and then you have three races after that where it can't make the lead and it can't pass anybody. And it's really hard to win a horse race if you don't make the lead and you can't pass anybody. You got to do one of the two. One of the two is very important. And so I agree that the 12-1 price. Look, if you're looking for a flyer, if you're going to go 4 or 5 deep, yeah, I think the 7 makes a ton of sense in that spot. But for me, I couldn't fit it on the ticket.
I think, well, I'm glad you brought up it was against Open Company last time out, now back in State Bred. That Johnny V, the one time this horse was less than 25-1 at the window was when Johnny V, was aboard, and that's probably a big Johnny V factor, as our Stephanie points out. Still riding pretty well right now. All right, let's go for the one horse, Emma and I, all the way on the rail here. Jose Ortiz riding for James Ryerson. Ryerson 0 for his last 37 on the turf. Not a great angle, but I'm willing to forgive that because of that last race missed at this level, at this distance, at this course by a neck with Edgar Zayas aboard. Is coming back, no precipitous drop. By exaggerator, should be able to handle this distance in the turf. No problem whatsoever there. 7-2, again, a little bit short, but this horse keeps knocking on the door, is eventually going to get there. And I really did like that effort last time out. And I think 7-2, that's a fair price for what you saw from that horse. And who she's facing here. Was the one a horse that you considered?
The 1 was actually my third pick. Okay. So I do agree with you here on the 1 horse. Yeah, that effort last time was really good. She had a little bit of a troubled trip wide on both turns. I like the fact that we're breaking from the 1 post. To me, that was a big part of this, right? Breaking from that rail, going a mile and a 16th. I kind of joked about this in the Open. It's the gate is like halfway through the turn. So if you're breaking from the outside, you're already 8 wide in the first turn. And so it's really hard to work out a trip when you're breaking all the way outside. Now, she was in the 2 post last time, but she was bumped and jostled at the break, and that kind of affected her. Now we're in the 1 post. I feel like this is just a kind of a cappered seat for Emma and I. The horse should be able to sit right inside of the speed, or right behind the speed here, which should be the 3. And if she's good enough, Emma and I should have a good shot at getting home. I would have used this horse if I spread more.
All right, Mike, I learned a lesson a long time ago when my good buddy Chad Summers has a horse in the finale at Belmont Park or Aqueduct or wherever, and the horse looks extremely outmatched, doesn't belong, play the horse. I'm going to use the number 4 Duck Fat. Getting a class drop his first time in for a tag is a Daughter of Quality Road, which is a $150,000 sire feed. This is a homebred, so Gold Square is not going to lose out on an auction price here, but is risking this horse. First time with Chad Summers. He is 1 for 10 with that angle. Chad Summers is 6 for 34 this year. He's got small starter numbers, but he is getting horses to win. New surface here. They tried putting this horse on the turf last time, got rained off. But now Chad's like, first time with this horse, I'm going to put it on the turf. I almost wonder if that was Gold Square saying, can you please put this horse on the turf? Can you try it just once and see what happens? And I believe, no, it was Benji. I think it was Benji Hernandez who was aboard the last time Chad screwed us. But he does have a 16% win rate with Luis Rodriguez in the saddle with a very healthy ROI of 268. So I'm going to use, but that is because it's 20-1 and because Chad Summers really effed me, and I do not want to come back on this show Monday and have people in the comments going, what happened, Magic? You still didn't learn? You didn't listen to it? I didn't. I actually texted Chad. I said, I'm not going to ask you about this horse because last time it didn't work out for me. So just know I'm playing it and don't tell me anything about the horse.
Well, if you want me to give you a little love, I mean, we talked about some horses in the first race. The winner 3 back, where the Duck Fat ran second to. Teetotaler won an $80,000 optional over the favorite in the first race of the sequence. So that kind of shows some back class there too. I mean, it's a quality road horse, should be better on the turf than the dirt in that sense. Has a pretty good Tomlinson over the turf. So I wouldn't talk. Well, yeah, I would. This is a terrible use, but I understand why you're doing it. You don't want to get beat by Chad Summers. I don't understand why you're not doing it because you're not going to get beat by Chad. He's not winning this race anyway. Don't use the 4. Throw the 2 in instead. Stormy Cat Lady. This horse has been running on the dirt consistently in the maiden special weight level versus the maiden 40 level. The last race, they tried to get the horse onto the turf, ends up not being able to make it. It rains off. They go over a sloppy track. We haven't seen this horse on the turf yet, and we're getting IRAD up in the last race. I think this one could fire. Stormcat's generally, there's a tail of a cat horse out of Stormcat, or son of Stormcat, generally a pretty good turf pedigree as well. So give me the 2 horses, my other horse I would have used. And if you want to play Magic's ticket, just substitute the 2 for the 4.
You realize in that race that you just quoted, not only was Duck Fat in that race behind Stormy Cat Lady, it was literally a neck behind Stormy Cat Lady at the wire for 4th and 5th. They were 14.25 and 14.5 lengths behind the winner. So yeah, I'm getting 20-1 instead of 5-1. That's a better price, right? I'm sorry, I can't.
That was over the mud. This is on the turf, and I get IRAD. He's a little better jockey.
Yes, you're getting incidental IRAD, as Jason called him earlier. Real quick before we wrap things up.
We got to get a Paco one, too. We got like a push out Paco or something. He blatantly interfered, by pushing a horse out, and did not give a flying bleep about what he was doing, and they didn't take him down either. It was incredible. Gulfstream's like, yeah, it's cool. You're on your IRAD. You can stay up no matter what. Almost knocked 3 horses over to get loose on the even money favorite. We would have won by 4 with anyway. It was crazy. Yeah, we need a Paco nickname too. Pushy Paco.
I like it. We'll workshop it. If you're in the comments, let us know. We'll try and figure out the best one. Before we leave this, because there are 6 also eligibles, specifically the number 11 horse, if there are enough scratches or even 1 scratch, she'll get in. I'm going to use this horse. I'm a little concerned about the post position because, as you said, Mike, you're starting kind of into the turn a bit. So unless you get a bunch of scratches, she's going to be way outside. But this is a Daughter of Constitution. Rudy Rod is entering her in here. And you look at that last race, mile and a 16th at Belmont Park at this level. Just misses by about a half length behind Emma and I, the rail horse, who we both have talked up here. Again, you're getting a really bad post position here. But aside from that, I think this horse really fits here. So if she drew in, would she be a horse, if you were in my position, that you would consider?
I would. I would consider her. I would also probably consider the 15. I don't know.
That's the other one that I wanted, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Luis Cardones picked the 15 over your other David Donk horse, right? I mean, so yeah. No, look, the 15 I thought was interesting. Second off the layoff, 3-year-old. This is another Donk horse in here. I think that you might actually have a little bit of a live price if he gets in. I don't think we're going to get all the way there, but I agree with you. The 11 and the 15 from the AE are both interesting as well.
All right, Mike, that's going to wrap things up for our late pick 4 look at Belmont Park on Saturday, May 22nd. We'll go ahead and give out our tickets one last time. Give me a second here to pull them up here for you at the bottom. If you're watching live or the replay on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, thanks so much for joining us. Give us a quick like, a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. We'll give out our tickets. I'll start first for 50 cents. I'm going 367 with 1678 with 57 with 13478. That is a $60 ticket. Mike, go ahead and start with your 50-cent ticket, if you please.
I'm going to play a 50-cent ticket, go 3, 5, 6, 7 with 1, 6, 7, 8 with 1, 5, 6, 7, 10 with 3 for 50 cents. That'll cost you $40. And then I'm going to play a $5 ticket. I'm going to go 3, 7 with 1, 7 with 5 with 3 for $5. That will cost you $20.
Perfect. Make sure you head over to racingnews.com. We have previews for the stakes, including the Seek Again coming up this weekend. Blinkers Off will be live here in, I think, probably about an hour or so. They'll be coming on. They're working on some special stuff that might show up. I don't want to say exactly what it is, just in case it doesn't work out, but it'll be a fun one to tune into. Oh, we got a couple names here for Paco. We got Pushy Paco, Piss Off Paco, which I like that one because if you're mad at him, you just be like, piss off, comma, Paco. You can scream it at him. Or if he wins for it, he's like, yeah, it's piss off, Paco.
That's a British one. Piss off, Paco.
Yeah, there you go. But if he goes to Ascot, we're going to call him piss off, Paco. Punch Me, Paco. That is a good one as well. Yeah.
That's the one I would vote for.
God. Oh, remember when they almost tussled? Oh, could have been fun.
That's why, okay. You know, they do karaoke for the PDJF every year.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a bunch of boxing matches? Could we get jockey boxing matches? Do you know how much, that would be incredible. That would be so great. You get Paco and Ira, just throw some gloves up, lace them up, and go at it. I guarantee you, there's a ton of bad blood we could get. I mean, you get some decent bouts here.
Hang on. We got a special guest arriving on the Magic Mike Show. You might have to come through the back doors, though. Yeah, sorry. This is, give me about 10 seconds here. We teased it on Monday, the show debut. Here he is. Magic Jr. showing up here with Mrs. Magic. Come on in, buddy. Oh, he's sleepy. He's a sleepy little boy. Ta-da! Future ruler of the free world, everybody. Take a good look at him right here. Yeah.
Agent Coulson right there.
Agent Coulson showing up for his first Magic Mike show. All right, I love you, boy. Oh, and he says it's time to go. So thank you so much for joining us on the Magic Mike Show. We'll be back here on Monday at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific to kind of wrap up and hopefully talk about how Chad Summers this time I was on the right side of things. Follow us on Twitter. I am at Curtis Kellaward. He is at SummerBomb18, number 1, number 8. Corporate Overlords at racing_dudes. Again, go to racingdudes.com. Check out Ricky's Rockets every day, putting out stuff with some great winning tickets. Also doing it in the mornings with Aaron Halterman as the co-host. Until Monday, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this weekend.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by racingdudes.com.